Hey guys, what's up? Eli Dangerfield here and welcome to this exciting video. In this video, we're going to be covering off a highly requested topic that I've been posted about in the Facebook group, inside the training, and on my Instagram as well. So I wanted to cover off on what is the opposite of the glamorous side of entrepreneurship, the opposite of the exciting stuff of entrepreneurship, you know, the flashy cars, the lifestyle, all the BS that you see on the surface level, which is good fun, but ultimately that's not what really business is about. That's not what you're doing this for. There's a lot deeper meaning to it, and to get to those levels of having the things you want and having the material possessions, you've got to go through a lot of BS, you've got to go through a lot of struggles, you've got to go through making mistakes, experiencing failures and learning, you know, sometimes very expensive and painful lessons. Okay, so what I'm going to be detailing is my journey making money online. So if you don't know me, I've been building businesses and trying to learn how to make money online since the age of 14, and then I got into e-commerce when I was 17 years old, and then that's what gave me my first initial start to make hundreds of thousands of dollars online, get myself up, learn the skills, and then be able to duplicate those same skills across different mediums, different sectors as well. So, okay, I'm going to be pulling back the curtains in this video on my failures and mistakes that I've made in my journey so far, almost basically just exposing myself, my weaknesses, my lessons, what I can take out of what I've been able to do. And I want to basically give full transparency as to the things I've screwed up, the things I've made mistakes by, just so you know that I'm not some invincible god of business. Like, it takes a lot of experience and learning to be able to get to the point where you have some good business acumen, so you've got competency in business. And I'm still learning the same way that you guys are still learning, the same way that Jeff Bezos and all the top entrepreneurs are still learning. There's not one instance where you know absolutely everything. So I'm going to dissect all the silliest things I've done, my mistakes, and the key lessons that you can take away so that you don't have to go through the same hard BS and you can cut straight to where you want to be by avoiding the mistakes. Okay, so let's jump straight in. We're going to be looking at all of my takeaways, all of my lessons and everything so that you can get to your goals quicker and easier, okay? So learn to embrace mistakes and failure and you'll accelerate your journey. First and foremost, again, it's not sunshine and rainbows. You're going to have to face mistakes, errors, and you're going to have to hold yourself accountable. But the good thing to remember is that it's all part of the game, okay? So as long as you can continue striving towards your goals and correct course as you make mistakes, you can't and won't lose. Turn losses into lessons and keep powering forward. It's the only way. You don't lose when you fail. You only lose when you give up on yourself and you cease trying to improve, okay? So again, when you grow, when you start building your businesses, when you start sharing more of what you're doing, many envious and jealous people will wish you to fail. They'll try and put you down. They'll try and highlight everything wrong that you're doing. But you've got to remember that it's just part of the game, okay? Everyone gets hate. Everyone's trying to put themselves out there. It's natural. So learn to embrace it, learn to love it, and learn to let it just be water off a duck's back, and don't let it affect you, because if you're trying to do something great, you will receive love, you will receive hate. It's better to be polarizing than just tolerate it, okay? So as long as the love outweighs the hate, it's happy days. So again, anyone hating on you for building your business, because it's a common topic, a lot of people who start building businesses that are generating high revenues and they start sharing their journey, like, you're going to cop some hate, and it's just part of the game. But at the end of the day, if your mission is empowering other people as well, it goes hand in hand, okay? So people who try and pull you down are just coming at it from a real standing of low self-worth, and it's important to realize that, okay? Because once you realize that, you just have nothing but pity for these people. So let's dive right in, not wasting any time. I just wanted to set the scene and set the context. This is going to be jam-packed with value and transparency of how things really go in business and things that I've done wrong. So again, turn off any distractions, exit out of anything that's not going to serve you. Grab a pen and paper, grab your favorite beverage, and focus. I'm basically trying to condense tons of my knowledge here into bite-sized pieces, so enjoy. First mistake and lesson and takeaway that I want you to go and make sure you realize is that scared money doesn't make money. Firstly, don't be afraid to invest money in things if they make sense to you, just because others think it's silly or they think it's a waste of money. Other people aren't going to be able to serve you. You need to be able to look at your goals and determine where your money is best spent. Poor is an acronym that stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. And these people are scared of risk, and the richest people on earth, as you can imagine, embrace risk. They do so sensibly though, and they conduct appropriate due diligence to make sure that they're making the best possible decisions that are going to serve them not only now, but 10 steps ahead in the future, right? So do your research about each opportunity that comes up and pull the trigger only when it feels right and the facts back it up. Then, if you can take out your original capital, once you've made an investment in anything, whether it's yourself, a business, an investment, whatever it is, crypto, if you can take out your original capital and play strictly with the house's money, then do so. Because why? You'll be less emotionally involved in that investment and you can make far more logical decisions rather than being like, oh, in capital preservation mode, you can be like, all right, well, let's look at how we can maximize the result of this investment. And then because you've got your original money out and you're playing with the house's money, right? Now, just to let you know, I continue to invest in myself each month. I buy books, courses, mentoring programs. I get expensive calls with mentors as well, and I do more. Why? Because I know that if I just learn one more golden nugget every time that I invest money, I'm going to learn a lot and my results are going to compound far more aggressively in my favor than if I was trying to learn everything strictly by myself. So don't be afraid to invest in yourself if it makes sense and it's going to actually move you closer to your goals and to your vision. Okay. So many people are like, oh, I don't know if I can spend a few $100 on myself. Oh, I don't know if I should do this. Oh, I don't know if I should do that. If it aligns with your goals, just do it. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So save yourself time and use money as a token of exchange and buy yourself time effectively with information. Okay. One of the biggest shortcuts to building wealth quicker is learning from people who've done things and paying them to get the shortcuts. End of story. So scared money doesn't make money, and I wish I realized that you needed to invest in yourself and do it at a higher degree and do it much more rapidly earlier on. So that's one of my biggest mistakes and regrets, is not spending more money on self-education earlier. Next one, I regret not reading more books when I was younger, but we're catching up right now. I didn't read and I still don't really read, but I do listen to audiobooks as well. I like to typically go ahead and get on Audible, and then I like to speed the books up to like 1.5x and then just take notes and then listen to it a couple times so that all the concepts kind of stick in my brain as well. But yeah, definitely reading non-fiction books will speed up your life path very significantly. Inside my training as well, I've actually got a list of books that I've called the Millionaire's Bookshelf. It's basically a dozen or so odd books that I really stand behind. I love them. I've read them multiple times. I've read them in hard copy, the audio versions, and everyone that I refer to reading these books is that was mind blowing. So yeah, all my students will have that book list inside the program as well. But yeah, read more books, educate yourself. You can never go wrong. Next, one of the other mistakes that I've made is not using original content in marketing. So actually being able to go out there, and for some of my e-commerce brands, what I've done before is I've used other influencers and photographers' images, and I've put my products into the images thinking that it was fair use when I first got started. Because again, no one told me what to do. I was typically going out there and thinking that it was okay to use other people's content while just giving them credit and just reposting it, because I saw so many other brands doing it. So again, back in the day when I got started and I was doing this was 2016, 2017. I definitely stopped doing it in 2018. But what I learned was that it's not okay, and that you can't just use other people's images even if you give them credit, despite the fact that so many brands are doing it. Sometimes it can backfire as well. And so I learned this lesson as well. So I wanted to pass that on to you guys. Always use original content. I've made that mistake and used other people's content before. And yeah, it backfires. So definitely save yourself the time, energy, and money that it takes to rectify those situations by just going out there and using your own content. What you can do is you can go out there and send your e-commerce products to micro influencers, people you know, friends, family, models. You can send it to big influencers, macro influencers. But yeah, then you can get content from them, instead of having to kind of finesse your way into some other content. But that's just a shortcut. That's what I thought was the best way forwards. Why? Because I was modeling what other people were doing at that point, and I didn't know better. So take that lesson and take that on board, so that you're not doing the same thing. So because yeah, it's not a good time when that backfires on you as well. So take that lesson, and I hope you enjoy that one. Use original content. Don't waste your early years in life. If you're young right now and you want to achieve big things, don't sit on your ass doing nothing early on in your life. These are your prime years to get ahead. It's going to be far easier to get started building businesses in your 20s and 30s compared to your 50s and 60s, right? Today is ripe with opportunity, so seize it. You're only young once. Use your advantages of being more energetic and put yourself to work. Your output's going to be far more significant now when you're an able-bodied person with everything in your favor, compared to as you start aging, your output is going to drop significantly. So have fun, sure. Maintain a healthy work-life balance by all means, but stay grinding on your vision and don't lose focus, okay? Because if you lose focus and 10 years all of a sudden goes by and you wake up and you're 35 and you wish you got started when you were 25, you've wasted 10 years of your most prime working hours and life just wasting. So if you've got big visions, big dreams, big goals, work, and the sooner you get working, the sooner you'll get the results. So don't waste your early years. I did get started trying to learn about business when I was 14, but I wish I got started younger. Like, I wish I started e-commerce when I was 15, like some of my students, like Will, who's now making over $100,000 a month at 16. I wish I was in that position when I was that age, but everything happens at the right time for you, okay? So don't waste your early years. Next one, running your business with sloppy numbers. Don't do this. Have spreadsheets, have systems, know your numbers. It's important to know both your numbers in both personal finance and in business. Knowing your numbers is critical because it gives you a really, really good situation and a situational analysis of where you are at this exact moment in time based on all your financials, your net profit, your sales numbers, everything just mapped out in spreadsheets. You can have this automated, you can have VAs, bookkeepers, accountants sort it out for you. It'll remove a lot of stress and pressure when you know your numbers, okay? Scaling your ads, it makes it far easier if you know the exact margins that you're operating on compared to rough estimates, okay? So always know where your money's coming from, where it's going, and what you're keeping at the end of the day, okay? Know your numbers and don't try to scale a sloppily ran business because it makes your life a lot harder while not necessarily making you any more profitable. So keep that in mind. Know your numbers and don't bother trying to get rich unless you are numbers driven, okay? E-commerce, particularly if you're running Shopify businesses, any kind of digital marketing efforts, it's going to be very, very highly numbers focused, and you're going to have to look at things very analytically and logically. So don't be sloppy with that because it'll come back and bite you. That's another lesson I've learned in the earlier days. You build out systems, and my students will know about this. Knowing your numbers and being able to assess based on data points what needs to be done in order to optimize each other. The whole thing's a machine. It's a well-oiled machine. Your business, at each stage of this machine, you're going to have different data that reflects the end outcome being profit in your bank. So your job is to basically optimize each of those data points down the funnel to ensure you're maximizing your profit at the end of the day at the bottom of your funnel. Does that make sense? Next one, giving up early leaves you with nothing. Giving up too early in business leaves you with nothing. Don't give up on a new business idea immediately if you struggle to gain any success and momentum early on. Almost every startup ever will have to fight pretty hard to see any level of success at all. Heck, even product validation, it might take you a bit longer than you'd expect just to prove that you're onto something, right? It took me a long time before I started seeing thousands of dollars come in every day, tens of thousands of dollars come in every day with Shopify. Back when I was first finding my feet in the game, it took me a while to find what was going to work for me, okay? Now, when those good sales days finally came along, those beautiful days, seeing all that money come in truly gave me a leg up. And from that day, e-commerce changed my life forever. Once I figured out what worked and what didn't, and it clicked and I started seeing money come in, everything just flowed from there on forward. But it wasn't easy from the get-go. I struggled immensely. If I'd given up before I found the working process that worked for me, I wouldn't have anything to show from all my hard work trying to build up my brands from the beginning. So keep persevering. This is literally, perseverance is the only reason of how I came up on my first few $100,000 from Shopify e-commerce, was because I just persevered. I persisted, I optimized things as we grew, I looked at the data, I failed, I succeeded, I made mistakes, and I refined my process. And that's how I understood what works, and that's how I was able to put it into a system that I can now help other people build with as well. So once you know how to do something and you make it a duplicatable system, watch the magic unfold from there. So if you are trying to do something right now and you're thinking of giving up, really just push it to that nth degree, and you'll be surprised what happens. I was literally so close. I was on the verge of giving up, and then one day everything just changed. If you want to learn the full story of how I got into e-commerce and what actually changed on that day, listen to my podcasts. You can find them on Spotify with Frankie Lee and Kai Taylor, where I go into detail about my exact struggles and my journey and everything in a far more longer format if you want to learn how I struggled with my businesses, and then the one thing that kind of changed it all and switched it from losing money to making tens of thousands a week on my Shopify stores. Okay, so again, you can do the same. My students in the e-commerce program prove this concept right time and time again. The fact that if you give up too early, you leave with nothing. If you persevere, you get to reap the rewards. Okay. Sometimes it takes people weeks or months to find their stride and have the thing click and get results. But when they do, the sales come pouring in. And then once the sales come in, you are filled with confidence. You know you've got the ability to duplicate this and scale it. And then from there on, the rest is history. So giving up too early leaves you with nothing. Next, once you start making money, don't fall into the new rich traps. Society is almost designed to take money from you at each level of your income bracket. Not just with tax, not just with things like that, but there's new rich traps where people who come into money quickly, or they start making money when they're not used to having money, as in you don't come from money. Like myself, I don't come from money. I don't come from a wealthy, rich family. I don't come from an upper middle class family. You know, once money started coming in for me, I almost started falling in new rich traps, right? What you need to do is you really need to have the discipline to consistently ensure that you're living below your means, and you need to stack your cash while investing into assets that provide you a return so that money's working for you rather than you having to actively work for money, right? When I first started making good money, I'd be pretty quick to spend it thinking that money could continue to come in forever. It's not until the money kind of dries up at some points, which it will in business, no matter what you do, money stops, money goes higher, money goes down, like it's part of the game. But it's not like when you're on the up and up, it's all good to spend money because you're making more money. But then the second you go over that roller coaster hurdle and go dropping a little bit, you're like, oh, wow, I need to rein in my spending a bit. Why did I spend all that money on this stuff? So don't make that mistake. Stack your cash, invest into things that are going to provide you a return, and repeat. Focus on your active income streams, and then focus on investing the rest of your available capital into things that are going to provide a return into yourself, into your business, into index funds, into stocks, into managed funds, into crypto, into whatever investments. Again, none of this is financial advice, but into whatever, you know, floats your boat, and you can see financial advisors and everything. But yeah, that's what I did. Again, you know, I'm glad I was able to quickly pull my head in here, and I decided to rein in my spending on needless material items before I got sucked into the new rich trap too deep in buying tons of designer clothes and trying to maintain some image that wasn't me. Doing this and being able to pull my head in before I started spending ridiculous money on stupid things like sports cars that I couldn't afford, and just going out there and just going crazy to try and impress people that don't even really care. Like, you know, you learn these mistakes. I was able to save far more money. I was able to do it quicker, and I was able to invest it in better investments, giving me returns still to this day, to the point that I'm very proud of myself to say this, but because of all my hard work and because of all the value I've put out there, I've generated enough capital and I've invested it wisely. Sure, I've got some toys and I've got some fun things, as you know and as you see. That's the perks of the labor as well. I'm a young guy. Of course, I'm going to want to have fun to some extent, but I do so within my means. Now, I'm grateful that I've been able to find capital that I can invest in things that are going to pay me a consistent income. So that right now, if I just didn't want to continue with any kind of business, I could just sit back, relax, and shut down all my businesses, sell whatever businesses I want, and just relax and have my living expenses covered from my passive income. That is infinite prosperity right there. That means that I can stop working, I can retire effectively at 22 years old because of what I've done, because of the businesses that I built, because of the value that I brought. And I can sit back and relax, but that's not me. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue growing and building and serving people and leading with value, because I know my vision is far bigger than what I'm currently sitting at. So again, invest in yourself, invest in your business, and don't fall into the new rich traps. It's only possible when you avoid temptations. Okay, so make sure you get good willpower and you stack your money to invest it rather than saving it. Let your money work for you, okay? Don't make the same mistakes that I see so many people make, that I personally made, where you splash money on things that aren't going to provide any return. They're just dumb, like going to the club and buying bottles. That's not going to give you a return. You know, you can think of a million things right now that you could buy that would just be not beneficial to you in your financial situation. So learn from me, learn from mistakes I've made and I see so many people make, and just live below your means. Don't care about trying to portray an image to people, because no one really cares at the end of the day. Like, just build stuff that you love to build and get stuff that you love for you, for no one else. So don't fall into typical new rich traps of trying to impress people who don't care, okay? Next, being a perfectionist can hold you back, and it definitely has held me back from achieving a lot of things as well. Don't wait for everything to be 100% perfect before launching a new product or business. It's better to just get something out there in the market, getting real-time feedback, and then making iterations from there. It's easier to do that than it is to tinker with something for far too long, wasting precious time that you could have actually spent getting sales and getting feedback earlier on, which is going to move your business closer to the point where you want it to be, as in profitable, right? Sometimes you'll launch something to the market and it won't be 100% good, and that's fine. That's what it takes to launch something and take action fast, right? Just learn from the feedback, learn from the criticism you get, and learn to make the necessary changes based on that feedback in order to ensure customer satisfaction and ensure that your business is viable and the products that you're selling are valid and in demand. And then once you can do all of that, you're on the right track. Even if you get criticism, even if you get feedback, that's what you need in order to optimize your business. If no one ever criticized your product and complained and had questions and had queries and had suggestions and ideas and help, constructive criticism, if no one ever gave feedback, every product out there would suck. It would suck. Every product that I've had and I've sold, ranging from merchandise, hoodies, like computer equipment, phone cases, beauty stuff, candles, watches, info products, software, everything that I've sold, videography services, marketing services, web design services, nothing was perfect 100% when I launched it. That's the thing. As you grow, you refine things and you optimize things. So don't wait years sitting in the background trying to develop a product that is 100% perfect. Why? Because only you think it's 100% perfect. You need to get things out there to the market and getting feedback, okay? Sitting there wasting time tinkering on something until it's perfect is a stupid business move, unless it's, special circumstances. For most of you listening, get something out there, launch it, get it out to people, and then make iterations from there, okay? Get your minimum viable product, your MVP out there, and validate it. Once you know the demand, once you know what you need to change, make your product the best thing since sliced bread, make it crush your competitors, and then go out there and win, okay? So again, don't be a total perfectionist. That's the one thing that I definitely admit to being, is a perfectionist. I sit on things for far too long when I should just take action, launch things, do things, and then make changes from there. But again, I've always been a perfectionist. Ever since I was little, my mum used to see me draw little drawings of trains and things like that. And if I'd screw up one line, I'd scrunch up, sorry, my brain's tired. I'd scrunch up the paper and I'd just throw it away and I'd start the drawing again, even if I got like one tiny line off. So again, being a perfectionist can hold you back, okay? Just remember that. Just launch and validate and optimize, okay? Next thing is holding true to your word is key in marketing. Another mistake that I made early on in my e-commerce days, as I have shared before and some of you may be aware, is I have said on some of my brands, when I was way starting back, I partnered with social causes. What I did was I saw other people on online videos and blogs where people were being like, oh yeah, partner with like how to increase your conversion rates on your Shopify stores, partner with a social cause, have a charity thing. And I'm like, all right, because I wasn't really making much money off the store. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to try and do everything. And this is what it takes to be successful. Try everything. But if you're going to do things like this, make sure you hold true to your word, okay? Because otherwise, there's no point doing it. So what I did was, and the mistake that I made was I actually said that I was partnering with a charity in, I believe it was Kenya. And then I put it on my website and I said a small portion of proceeds will go to this charity. And then I thought it would suddenly increase my conversion rate, and it didn't. I left it on for like a week or two and I got no extra sales. So I was like, oh, well, now I can't afford to donate any of this money. I'm still running at a loss. So I thought, so then I took it off my website. But the point being is, if you're going to do it, just know your numbers and factor it into your numbers if you want to partner with a social cause, okay? So even if you've got good intentions, sometimes you won't have the money, especially when I got started and when I did this, I didn't have the money. But what I learned was that if you're going to do that, know your numbers, and it comes back into one of the other mistakes and one of the other learnings, one of the other teachings, one of the other lessons. Is know your numbers so that you can factor in giving a percentage of proceeds to charity if the numbers stack up as well and you stand behind the cause and you can actually afford to do it. Okay, if you can't afford to do it, don't say that you're going to do it, because it just leads to confusion, and yeah, it's not fair on the charity, it's not fair on you, it's not fair on the customers. So I learned quickly, and yeah, from now on, like I've obviously given far more to charities. I've given tens and tens of thousands to charities, people in need, people who need help. I've donated all my book sales to charity. I actually doubled it out of my own pocket, and then I had another corporation double that amount, so we ended up donating a bunch of money to charity there from 600 book sales that I did, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Door slammed. But yeah, guys, the more you give, the more you get back. I made mistakes when I was fresh 17, 18-year-old into the business. But yeah, hold true to your word in your marketing. If you say you're going to do something, just do it. Just do it. It's not hard. There's no need to try and present a facade or anything like that, okay? Again, I didn't have the funds available when I first said I was going to partner with a charity. I didn't have the money there. I figured that it would increase my conversion rate based on a article, I believe it was on Shopify or another blog site back when I was doing that. And they're like, yeah, partner with a social cause, people love to support it. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, we're going to get our conversion rates up, we're going to be able to make more money, and then I'm going to be able to donate to charities. And then I just couldn't, because my paid ad costs were way too high and I was losing money for that temporary bit. So I was like, oh, I can't. And then I just put it off the website. I was like, no, it's not going to work out with that. So then I took that off. But yeah, learn from that mistake, hold true to your word, and remember, if you're going to partner with social causes, what you would do is you should actually reach out and get like a formal partnership agreement in place so that they're aware And not only will they be aware, but they'll support you, and then they might even be able to drive traffic to your page as well through their channels, which is actually a smart move, which I should have done in hindsight. But again, I had no one telling me this stuff. I had to learn through trial and error. So take that, hold true to your word in marketing, and I hope you guys appreciate the transparency in that, because yeah, you learn lessons, you learn from them, and you learn how to fix them. Next is another mistake that I made is I bought my first Mercedes-Benz in cash. Why is that a mistake, you say? So many people are like, why do you finance your cars? Obviously you can't afford them. It's quite funny just seeing like how financially illiterate some people are when it comes to things like that, especially like the middle class, I guess, people. They're just used to wanting to own everything in cash. They want to pay down their mortgages. They don't understand investments, investment yield, returns, and arbitrage effectively. So why I say this one is because, yeah, it's such a common misconception. People think financing cars is stupid. Literally most people that I know who've got exotic cars and cars worth over 100,000, 150,000, 200,000, 300,000, up to $1 million cars, that the people that I know have these cars, like they finance them. It just makes more sense so that they can have their money work for them. Buying cars in cash is silly compared to financing them if you can already afford them outright. If you're like gonna live beyond your means to get a car and finance is the only way you can get a car, don't do it. That's dumb. That doesn't make economical sense. And I'm sure you're already aware of this if you're listening this far into a video about learning about my mistakes. Like if you're gonna buy a car, make sure that you can afford to buy the car in cash if you're gonna finance it, okay? Make sure that's like the absolute basic rule. I know there's a rapper, I think it was Jay-Z or someone said, like, don't buy something if you can't afford to buy it twice, okay? So if you're gonna buy a $500,000 supercar, make sure that you've got $1 million spare to be able to pay for that supercar and then finance it, okay? So that you can have all of that capital working for you to help pay it back, okay? So in hindsight, I would have bought my first Mercedes-Benz on finance. I bought it in cash when I was 20 years old, and in my opinion, it was a waste of money. I had spent I think it was $43,000 cash that I spent on my first Mercedes. I only had about $90,000 in liquidity available at the time. And for some reason, I decided to spend it on a depreciating asset. Don't know, probably because I thought it was cool. I was young, I had no one telling me what to do. And I've been wanting to treat myself for years, and I finally could. I finally had the means to be able to do so to some extent. Now, really, in hindsight, again, I should have financed and I should have put that remaining capital to work for me at a higher percentage yield compared to the car finance cost in interest. Effectively, that would give me a cheaper car if you run the maths. If you don't get where I'm coming from, I'll do a little explanation for you, okay? Example, if the finance interest is going to cost you 4% per year to borrow the money, but you invest the capital that it would cost to buy the car in cash, you put that same money elsewhere instead of buying it in cash, like into an index fund that returns an average 10% per year, then do 10 minus 4 equals 6, okay? Like, understand that. So what this means is that you're paying 4% to the banks or to whoever to borrow the money. So you're saying, hey, can I have money? Here's 4%. And then you're taking that same money that you've already got and you're putting it to work at 10%, meaning that you're actually 6% better off by financing it compared to buying it with that cash because you've got that cash working for you. Now, it's different if you don't know where you can get a better investment return on your money than what the car finance is costing you. If your car finance is going to cost you more than what you think you'll be able to get back on your investment, then it doesn't make sense to finance it. This is what I personally do with my new car, my new 2020 C63S AMG. I could have bought that in cash. It was a $193,000 car new. I financed it, I put down a deposit, and then the rest of that money I've invested in something that pays me 7% a year. I pay about 4% in finance, so I'm actually 3% better off. And that money's working for me, compounding. So as I leave that money working for me, it's only going to get better, and the amount of money that I make is only going to increase, okay? So, yeah, even smarter, like going back to where I made the mistake of buying my first Mercedes C250 in cash. I should have just bought a cheaper car for like $5,000 or $10,000. I don't know why I felt like I needed to flex up and get that car. I think it was probably just the image that I wanted in my head. Again, new rich trap, right? New rich trap. This is all the lessons, everything that I've gone through and figured out so that you guys don't have to make the same mistakes. So I hope you appreciate this. Full transparency. But yeah, I should have bought a cheaper car at that point. Most people shouldn't like spend half their money on a car. Like I can't imagine spending half my money now on a car. Like it just seems stupid. It's definitely excessive. But yeah, I should have made smarter moves. I don't regret doing it because I did enjoy the car and it it did give me a better sense of self-worth, so that I believed I was able to accomplish bigger things, and it also lit a fire under my ass to actually work even harder. So again, yeah, that's what I did. I financed my current Mercedes that I've got. Why? Because it's more profitable for me to do so. Makes more sense. And yeah, that's my view on it. Not financial advice. This is how all the people that I know who have supercars and exotic cars and fast cars and expensive cars do it. Just makes sense. Know where your money's going to work for you best, and then yeah, do that. Again, no one cares about your business like you do. Okay, now this is going to be a hard lesson to learn sometimes, and sometimes it takes you having to be the victim of a scam or something to realize that no one cares about your business like you do. That's just the general rule of thumb that you have to kind of apply to everything. When you're looking to go out there and scale your brand, for example, let's say you're out there doing a few $100s a day in sales on your e-commerce store, and you're like, oh, I kind of want to ramp it up, but I don't know if I'm competent enough with my ad strategies or whatever. If you're looking to scale your brand, be very, very careful vetting agencies to partner with if you want to outsource ads management or media buying or anything like that. I got burned tens of thousands of dollars by an Australian Facebook ads agency when I didn't even have the money, and they threatened to come debt collect me with lawyers and everything, even though they failed at their job. Like, they were running ads off of my ad account, spending my money while charging me an expensive retainer to do so, while like having the images cropped wrong, using the wrong videos, making grammatical and spelling errors, directing people to the wrong URL. Just a lot of little issues that ended up wasting me a lot of money, time, and energy. But I'm grateful for it all at the end of the day, because I was able to learn what not to do from them, and then I was able to change my course and direction and learn my own processes, which worked shortly thereafter. So again, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward is how you've always got to think about things. But just remember, if you're going to work with agencies and people who manage your ads, manage things for you, just use this as a rule of thumb. Just know that they're not going to care about your business like you do. So when you're vetting them, just make sure that they uphold all of the expected KPIs and agreements, okay? Next, remember, you can pivot. Don't stay stuck just because you start with something and you feel like you have to see it all the way through for the rest of your life, and that's the only one thing that you can do. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't feel like you have to do the same thing in your life forever because people expect things of you or because you expect that of yourself. You can pivot and you can change with the trends, so don't put yourself in that imaginary box. Keep your eyes open for capitalizing on opportunities. Like we've talked about, once you learn these skills that you can take into any niche and any business model, like you learn these solid e-commerce and online business skills, you can capitalize on any trend that pops up, any niche. So don't just have laser vision on one thing. Keep your eyes out, because you might be able to stumble on something that's going to be far more profitable. Certain businesses I've started since I was 14 years old, certain things I was trying, different ventures that I've played around with have been things that I didn't see myself doing for the rest of my life. I've tried so many different things, little social media agencies, AdWords agencies, selling like candles, heaps of different stuff, selling Harry Potter wands when I was in primary school for cash. Well, every time you start like a business model up, you don't have to follow that for the rest of your life. You can go in there, you can make a quick bag, make $10,000, make $100,000, make a few $100,000, make a few $1 million, and then move on to something else if you feel like your skills are going to be better utilized there. Once your skills level up, feel free to pivot into another opportunity where these new skills that you've got can be best utilized to provide the greatest returns to you. That's how you level up. That's how you grow. You don't necessarily have to get stuck in the same thing. Sure, if you're building one business and that's what you want to build up to a certain level, stay laser focused. But if you're not 100% serious, don't feel trapped. Don't feel trapped. Don't stay stuck. For example, if you start, say, an e-commerce store selling pet beds, and let's say you're doing $1,000 a day there, right? But then you've got the skills, you've got these skills sitting there, and you're looking on what you can do to make more money. And you see some new trending opportunity in the software space, right? And you've got a new friend who you've met through the e-commerce network who's also a developer, and you believe that you two together with your talents can smash it in like a software niche way harder and make more than 1K per day, which you feel kind of, that's your limit in selling dog beds. And you want to do something you're more passionate about, just do it. Don't feel the need to trap yourself into just doing one thing in one lane, okay? If you feel like you can capitalize on an opportunity elsewhere, go do it, and you can pivot. So don't feel stuck, don't feel trapped. Too many times have I tied myself to things for too long when I didn't really want to do them, and then you ultimately just waste time and waste opportunity cost that you could have put elsewhere to make even more money, okay? So I'm very glad that I've diversified my talents and my income streams now, and I've stopped doing some businesses while other ones that I like, they start to flourish. Take notes on this, you can pivot, and yeah, you can reinvent yourself, you can reinvent your skills, and you can transition into different industries and sectors if that's your desire. Next, be careful with overseas suppliers, okay? Another mistake, another key lesson, another takeaway that I've had to learn the hard way so you guys don't have to. And my OG students, my V1 six-figure brand accelerator program students will know this when I went heavy into private label information as well. When buying in bulk from overseas suppliers, perhaps you're going through Alibaba.com to source your stock from. Pay with Alibaba trade assurance payments from a verified gold rated supplier on Alibaba. You can protect yourself this way. Don't buy from non-verified, checked off, accredited suppliers who don't have that, trade assurance there. Just don't pay for big orders on things like PayPal. I mean, PayPal would work if you did it as goods and services and it was all legit. Don't do it via telegraphic transfer, okay? I got scammed once by a supplier and it cost me thousands of dollars when I couldn't afford to waste thousands of dollars. I lost a lot of wasted time, and I definitely suffered opportunity cost in one of my businesses. I was able to do nothing about it as well, because how it worked is I actually made the payment to the Chinese supplier via telegraphic transfer, via TT, from Australia direct to their Chinese bank account. I quickly learned from my lesson from this, as you got to really dial in your terms of trade and your payment options when dealing with more unknown suppliers overseas who you haven't had physical contact with, and you're not 100% trusting. And even then, have contracts in place as well, okay? Just don't trust people, have contracts in place. That's the biggest lesson as well. If you're sending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars overseas, make sure everyone's legit, make sure it's all right, make sure it's all done correctly, and make sure you've outlined all of your terms to make sure it makes sense. Same with shipping terms as well. So definitely make sure your shipping terms are outlined correctly, so you don't get stung with nasty fees later on. Also, ensure to almost baby your suppliers and manufacturers and vendors when it comes to detailing what you want your final product to be. What you want your final product to be. So when you're going out there and you're designing products and you're wanting feedback and you're wanting mock-ups made by these suppliers that you're dealing with, say through Alibaba, you have to baby them through it. Sure, they're competent, that's their business, but they will make mistakes. I've learned the hard way. I've learned very much the hard way here. You have to baby people through this. Don't leave out any details of your designs and what you want the product to have, and ensure that the PI, the pro forma invoice that they send with the details on it, is A1 accurate to what your product specs are, okay? Have someone else that you trust perhaps with looking over more menial details here, granular details. Okay, so just please have it checked out before you start sending thousands of dollars or tens of thousands or whatever to suppliers, to ensure that you aren't being taken for a ride. One of the biggest mistakes that when I realized that you have to baby the suppliers is when I ordered 1,500 units. So I sent a lot of money to China. I ordered 1,500 units of this product in, and then it was sitting there and I had boxes, and then I was like, all right, cool. Well, in these boxes, there was supposed to be foam inserts to keep the product from not falling out. And the foam inserts are supposed to be glued in, right? Glued into the box to make sure that it fits and it's smooth and it's cool and it's clean and it looks legit. Anyway, I check one of the products when they arrive, and I go and I open the box, and the piece of foam that should be hot glued or glued into the bottom of the box is gone. It's not there. So it just falls straight out. And I'm like, you're kidding. So I opened up a few more boxes, and every single box had the exact same thing. There was no glue in it. So I messaged the supplier. I'm like, what are you doing? You've just sent me all of these units with boxes that I can't even use because there's no glue in them. And he's like, oh, sorry, man. Some people don't like the smell of glue. And I'm like, but every other order we've done, you've had the glue in there and it's been perfect. Why do you change things up? And he's like, sorry, bro, some people don't like smell of glue. And I'm like, so that's when I learned you have to baby them through it. So I had to make sure I had myself, my ex-girlfriend, and my brother sit down, and we had to hot glue all of these boxes together with the packaging. I went up and bought so many hot glue guns and hot glue sticks and everything, and we sat there and just literally spent so long making sure that all these products were fixed. And he didn't even provide a discount for it because we didn't articulate that we wanted glue. Again, baby them through every minute detail. So learn from my mistakes here. I hope you appreciate that one. And yeah, baby them through it, have all your details there, and be careful when sending money to overseas suppliers. Next, adversity and challenges are part of the game. So tackle adversity head on. Don't be afraid of critics or criticism. It's just part of the game. They'll help you improve your operations by showing you your weak points in your business that you may not have even been aware of. Without criticism, be it angry or constructive, you'll struggle to improve and innovate beyond your comfort zone and what you're already used to. Every time I get criticism for the way that I do things, I do a quick mental self-check-in and I see how I could operate better and close up that hole that they're trying to attack, okay? So you become invincible through addressing criticism head on. That's the only way to do it. Don't shy away from facing feedback and criticism. Embrace it and action on it. Do something to solve that so that there's no more criticism on that particular component, okay? No matter how good you are and how amazing you are and how beautiful your product is, whatever it is, people will try to hurt you or take you down out of pure spite and jealousy. Some people just prefer to give you honest criticism. That's good, like take that on board too, but a lot of people just do it out of a spiteful little jealous like rage complex thing. Anyone who's successful knows this. Myself and all my circle, all my network, like most people cop some level of BS online from different, random troll accounts and people trolling them. Don't let that stop you, because it's just part of the game. Adversity, challenges, criticism, haters, trolls, it's part of the game. The more success that you see for yourself and the more you share there with the world, even if it's just to inspire people, the more mad that haters get, because they know that they could do the same thing you're doing and do it really well, but for some reason they've got limiting beliefs and excuses in their head as to why they can't do it, okay? There's a reason that winners are winning and losers focus on the winners, okay? There's no way to avoid it. Just learn to tackle adversity head on. Because I used to get too emotionally volatile and attached to things, and I used to take things personally. But then when I realized that people just direct hate to a persona, even though they don't actually know the real you, it's just like an online projection of you. Like that's when you can feel okay, because everyone in real life who actually knows you loves you, but people online are like having little keyboard warrior sessions just to try and, make you feel bad for 5 minutes. But yeah, don't let it bother you. It's just part of the game. Next, get a competent professional team behind you. Get a team of lawyers, accountants, and experienced business people. These people are phenomenal assets to have in your circle, and they're beautiful people to surround yourself around. You can learn a lot from these people. Like, once I started getting serious around hanging around competent accountants, financial planners, and serious business people, my level of what I thought was possible was just shot up through the roof. Lawyers, understanding contracts, understanding how to protect yourself legally, how to protect your assets, wealth preservation, as well as wealth creation. Once you surround yourself with these high-level thinkers and people who are very accredited in their craft, that's when you can start leveling up and you move into those upper echelons, okay? Don't hang around losers who talk about other people. Don't hang around people who gossip. Don't hang around people who are drunks and drug addicts and people like that. They're not going to push you up. They're not going to get you to that next level if you're trying to be successful. It's just not going to work in your favor. So go and hang around people who are also sharing your ambitions, and also get a competent professional team behind you that you can network with, and they're literally going to operate with your best interests at heart every time. It may be expensive, but it's worth it, because if you can get advice that's going to save you money and make you money, protect your wealth, create you more wealth, it's invaluable. Look at the long game, okay? So build a good team, build a solid professional team of competent advisors, get these people on speed dial, retainer, whatever you need to do. Have them handle your taxes, payments, legal issues, whatever it may be. I've got a really strong team right now, and I'm confident knowing that, like, if I ever run into any issues, everything's already been accounted for. And yeah, just very, very blessed to have the right people in my life. And you only get the right team in place through going out there and searching for them, giving value back to them, and having them want to serve you as well. So go out there. New levels of business present different challenges, so it's important to get a competent team on your side before too many of these challenges arise, okay? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that one. Get a competent professional team behind you. Next, again, similar to what we talked about before, learn that losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning. Okay, don't get it twisted. If you're someone who goes out there and goes out of their way to hate on people who are doing well, there's a good chance you're never going to do well, because your energy is just off, bro, and nothing will ever come to you with your energy being off. Okay, unless you're like some privileged spoon-fed person, then sure, you can hate and your daddy's still going to pay your mortgage or whatever. But most of us don't have that luxury, so we've got to go out there and build things for ourselves. So guys, don't hate on other people. Okay, hating on others will come back and bite you in the backside eventually. I've seen too many people who hate on other people, and it comes back to hurt them severely, okay? So spread only good energy, spread love, pay it forward, do good things for people, because the more good that you bring into other people's lives, the more you attract back to you. Like attracts like, okay? Good attracts good. Hating attracts hating. Negative energy negative results in your reality, okay? So focus on your journey, focus on your goals, and stay focused in your lane without trying to give any attention to the people next to you, okay? Trying to bring others down is just keeping yourself salty and spiteful for zero gain. There's no net positive for anyone on that. It's just a net loss. Some people enjoy the thrill of trying to take others down, which you probably know as that toxic cancel culture epidemic you see all the time on social media, whereby someone says something out of context or does something that not everyone agrees with several years ago, and then everyone goes, oh my God, they need to go down for that. And then people like get off on it. It's so weird. I don't understand. And if you're watching this right now, you're 45 minutes into this video, I'm sure you're the same. You're not someone who goes out there and attacks people, hates on people. It's wild how people can get consumed by it. Like, I mean, when I was a little kid, like when I was 12 or 13, I probably got excited seeing people argue on the internet because that's the only interesting thing I had going on in my life at that point when I was little. I don't know. But yeah, once you grow up and you have some human decency and empathy, you just have no interest in hating. You have no interest in judgment, BS, anything like that. So again, lead with value and positivity, and then focus on your goals, and everything else seems to fall into place. The next thing is keep your finger on the pulse of your business. Keep your finger on the pulse of your business. If you're running a business or scaling a product and it starts to turn sour and you start losing money and it's not worth it, you need to know when to cut your losses versus pouring your profits back in to try and revive that business and product. I've made this mistake with different products and different businesses before, where I've ran a trend up and then I've hit a wall where I've kind of been like, oh, okay, well, this isn't working as great anymore, and I don't feel like I could revive it, but I'd be pouring in all my profits, whereas I could go do this and I could pivot and make more money over here. Okay, so there's different things you have to be aware of when going out there and deciding what to do. So don't make mistakes like I've done and go out there trying to continually scale a business that doesn't, like, it's not going to work on the numbers. Okay, so don't pour all of your profits that you've earned back into something if it's already turning sour. Learn to mitigate your risk, cut your losses, and know when to move on or know when to switch strategies, okay? This will only come mainly through experience in business. Like, the first time you go out there and you're trying to like figure out when to cut losses on something, it's going to be hard oftentimes, and this is just being fully transparent. You'll probably fail and end up losing more than you figured on your first few business ventures. It's just the way of the game. You got to learn to earn, learn, then remove the L, then earn. Sometimes learning goes hand in hand with losses, okay? So you never lose, it's only lessons, and then take those lessons and make them work for you, okay? So again, just keep your finger on the pulse of your business if you're running it. Just don't get caught up with trying to revive something if it's not there to revive. So know your numbers, be aware of when to cut your losses, know what your profit's sitting at, and know what like you're happy to kind of walk away with the business at if it gets to that point in any period of time. I've made there before, I've made the right and wrong decisions on plenty of different times at different things. You learn with experience, keep on top of it all. Next, business partnerships have pros and cons. When starting a business with business partners, it might be fun. You might have someone to bounce ideas off of. Some people prefer to start businesses by themselves. There's pros and cons to it. Obviously, having a business partner, you double the manpower, but you have to split your equity down the middle, therefore reducing your personal take-home pay, I guess, at the end of the day, and your equity in the business by half if you're splitting it one way or two ways or three ways, whatever. But yeah, that's just something to be aware of. There's pros and cons. Obviously, your output and your ability to grow faster is going to be incrementally bigger with more people on the team. But just because you've got more people, just because you've got a business partnership, doesn't mean that it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows. If you're starting a business with a prospective business partner or a friend, make sure that they bring something to the table that you don't bring as well. You need to complement one another and have respective and complementary talents. Also, don't partner with someone out of pure laziness and fear of doing a business alone. If you're new to business, you're probably much more likely wanting to do it with someone else, just so that if something goes wrong, you can both share the blame together and be like, oh, well, that didn't work out. Or if it succeeds, you can pat each other on the back and be like, good job, we did it. Sometimes, it's just not the best way to do it. Business partnerships work out. It might work out 50-50. Sometimes you might have a great partnership, other times it's a really nasty partnership and it doesn't work. It's just kind of how you've got to go, okay? I started a business with a partner and had to drop him off early on when I was younger, because I was the one risking all the money. I was putting in the money. I was spending the majority of the time on it. I was doing it. I was the one putting all my skills into it. And I'd wasted time there. So I had to cut them off, and I wanted the full equity because I was doing everything. And I was just there because I just put them there because I kind of wanted someone so I didn't feel alone doing it, because it was one of my first things. So having someone in your business as a partner just because you feel like you want company, not a good move. And again, that's something that I did when I was younger. So I probably naively did that. Nowadays wouldn't do that. But look, once I cut him off and once I doubled down and went all in myself on the business, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars from that one. Now I've learned to partner with people who complement my skills. Otherwise, I'll do my businesses solo without partners. Now, since learning to only partner with competent, hardworking people with big visions and a successful prior track record, I've actually started other ventures with people who are competent in things like cryptocurrency. I've started ventures with people who are competent in things like other social media marketing that I'm not the best at, software people who are good developers, website developers. I've started joint ventures and partnerships and business things with all these types of people. And because they've got complementary skills and a proven track record, we've built these into 5, 6, 7-figure businesses on these respectively as well. So again, it's just a constant lesson when it comes to running partnerships too. Another thing that I wish I learned earlier, a big mistake of mine, is I didn't build monthly recurring revenue, MRR. Focus on building recurring revenue earlier, okay? Now, I've got one of my income streams on MRR and it's making me an extra 5 to 10K a week right now, and it's virtually passive because of one of the partnerships that I've organized, again, going back previously. These are cash flowing assets that you should try to bring to the table. Even if you have a one-time product sale in your e-commerce business or whatever you're selling, try and work some kind of MRR loyalty program or a subscription product onto the back end to provide some consistent, predictable back end cash flow. Monthly recurring revenue is a massive, massive plus, and ultimately it's going to give you a lot more confidence in running your business and scaling it, knowing your numbers. And then when it comes time to, if you ever want to exit your business and sell your business is going to be worth substantially more if you've got an existing paying customer base that pays you every single month or every single quarter, every single week. If you've got a subscription product, that's going to make your business worth far more as opposed to just one-time sales. So focus on building recurring revenue earlier. Next, know your break-even point on overseas bulk buy orders, okay? This goes back to when you're sending money overseas, when you're doing big bulk private label deals. Look, if you're looking to import products from overseas for your e-commerce brand or for a wholesale or retail business, I learned that you must understand your BEP, your break-even point. What is this? Basically, how many units do you need to sell at your retail price from your bulk order to cover the costs or break even, right? Example, let's say you're importing X product. So you're importing this pen, right? For example, at $10 cost per unit, and you've got 1,000 of these pens coming in at $10. Your purchase order is worth $10,000, right? That's what you're paying to get this big bulk order over, right? If you plan on selling these at $50 per unit each, let's work out our break-even point. You divide $10,000, the total cost of the order, by the price you intend to sell them at, or for a more accurate representation, you could do the profit margin you intend to sell them at, but I'm just going to do a pure example here. So let's just say you divide $10,000 by the $50 you plan on selling each pen for. You realize you only need to sell 200 units to cover the cost of your entire order, basically. Easy way to put it. So if you're going out there, you've got a $10 cost per product, you've got 1,000 of them coming in, you're going to spend $10,000 on that whole order. You need to understand that you don't have to sell the full 1,000 of them to make your money back. You just need to sell $200 at your 200 orders at your retail price of say $50, and you've made back that full $10,000. Then you've got the other remaining 800 units sitting there as all profit going forward. There's no risk in holding that stock there. So again, when placing your bulk orders for your brands, understand your BEP and your risk to reward ratio. The risk is you not being able to sell the BEP number of units, not the full order really. So ask yourself, in this example, if everything was slow, perhaps your business something happened in your business and everything stopped, and then for some reason you needed to exit, liquidate, and cover your costs, could you just move 200 of the 1,000 units you've got to cover your costs? How quickly would it take you to move 200 units at $50 so you cover your costs? Or even worst case still, could you sell everything back to the market, to the open market, to wherever you can get buyers at cost price? Is another way of assessing a risk. So what you could do is you could go, all right, well, I can sell some of these at $50. Like for example, let's say you had to make your money back really quick and you didn't want to pursue this business, but you still have the stock there. You could just go out there and sell these 1,000 units at $10 cost price each, and you've got your whole investment back. And if you sell it for $20 each, you can still double your money. Ideally, when you're running a business and you're trying to scale it though, you don't want to do that and you want to sell it for your retail price. But in the instances that you want to clarify to yourself mentally, and you can justify doing a bulk order, understanding your break-even point is going to be critical. this is what I did when I was first getting started and I was placing my original bulk orders over in China. I understood that what I was getting my products for, what I was planning to sell them for, and then how many I'd have to sell in order to cover my costs. And then from there, it filled me with confidence knowing, okay, cool, well, I only need to sell a small portion of the stock that's coming in to cover my costs, right? So that then as soon as you cover your costs, you're playing with the house's money effectively. Do you see where we're going back to some of the earlier lessons that I talked about? Is cover your bases, play with the house's money, like take your original investment out. You're basically playing with free carry forward, and then from there you can make more analytical, logical, well-informed decisions on growing your business, right? Without having to be like, oh, I need to preserve my capital and save my money and get my money back out. Then you can be more aggressive once you're playing with house money effectively, right? So know your break-even point. Learn that from my mistakes when I was nervous to place bulk orders, and then do your numbers and everything works out okay. Keep your circle close and tight-knit. You know, you hear this every single day. People come and go in your friendship circles, in the business world, in your business network, in your family even. Sometimes, like, just understand when it's time to cut ties with people if their energy doesn't match yours and their ambitions and their goals don't match yours. Cool, it's all good and well to have friends around you who aren't like trying to make tons of money and build businesses and be successful, because not everyone does have those ambitions. And if you just want to like hang around only those people, you're not going to be super happy probably. It's good to have a mixture, but just know, like, toxic people, get them out of your life ASAP, because they will only suck the energy and life out of you and they won't propel you towards your goals, okay? Share more of your journey on social media. One of my biggest mistakes and regrets is that I didn't share more of my journey on social media earlier since day one. I guess I felt embarrassed when I was first just starting out in my businesses, and I strictly shared the bare minimum that I felt proud of. If you're starting your businesses and you're learning new skills, share what you're doing. You never know who you may have a positive, influential impact on. You might inspire someone else who's been on the fence about doing what you're doing to jump on in and give it a crack for themselves. So that's what I love about social media and sharing things, is that it empowers other people to believe that it's possible, because sometimes they see all these successful people on a pedestal and they see them so far away from where they currently are, and there's that huge gap and they don't know how to bridge that gap. So being able to document your journey and showcase things on social media, it allows you to bridge that gap from beginner to advanced, from broke, like people struggling, to a successful person, from someone who's just getting started to a multimillionaire. If you can bridge that gap and you can document and show people what you're doing, like, people love that. People appreciate that. And some people are going to hate you. Again, that's part of the game. But the people who know. And the people who will appreciate that much more than you probably realize. And they're very grateful for you sharing your journey, okay? Again, it's also really, really good, because when you make it and succeed and you get to a point that you're happy with, whatever, it's really grounding to go back over your journey, go back and look at all the memories that you've posted up, look at all your milestones, and really just understand how far you really have come. Because sometimes you just get swept up in this hustle culture. You go out there, and this is what's happened to me. Like, you get caught up in the whirlwind of growth and trying to be successful, and then all of a sudden you look up one day, life's totally different, and you don't even know like how you kind of got there. Like, things have just moved like for you, just because you kept working, you kept your head down, you stayed consistent and busy, right? So documenting things on social media, sharing things on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be, TikTok, like, people appreciate it. You'll appreciate it when you look back on your memories as well. And it's another way to kind of use like a diary just to check in with things sometimes. So yeah, I loved going back and looking at like when I first got started on like my Facebook and on my Instagram, and going back through my old archives and things and being like, wow, like I've come a long way, and I need to actually pat myself on the back for what I've been able to do despite all the setbacks, because there will be setbacks, and it's good to kind of humble yourself and know that, you know, it's all part of the journey, and then to have all that documented is really, really cool. But yeah, like mainly one of my biggest regrets and mistakes is not documenting more of my life and more of my businesses and more behind the scenes, purely again because I wasn't super I just didn't feel confident with it. Okay, because people really want to relate to you. People look for inspiration. They want to be able to understand the exciting lows and the the exciting highs and the depressing lows of being in business, the realities of business. People want and need real right now. People want real. People want authentic. They want transparency in a world of fakes, pretenders, and people who shouldn't be, who should be quiet, right? There's so many fakes, there's so many posers, there's so many imitators out there that people want real, they want authentic, they want to learn the downsides, the upsides, Like they want to see everything from a bird's eye perspective rather than one biased perspective, right? That's why I'm coming at you with videos like this where I talk about setbacks, mistakes, errors that I've made and things that you can learn from so that you can get to your millions of dollars faster than it took me to make millions of dollars, because I had to go through so many setbacks that you wouldn't believe to get there. So I'd love to pass these lessons on to you for free in this video so that you can take something really, really valuable out of it. And then one day when you become successful as well, or become more successful if you're already successful, you think back and say, wow, thanks to Eli's lesson in this video here, I've been able to avoid doing this, which has helped me get to my XYZ goal faster. Thank you, Eli. That's my goal here. And I get so much fulfillment and excitement after seeing you guys crush it, okay? So again, show your journey. And again, I'm always striving to document as I learn things and upgrade my life and upgrade my skill sets as well. I'm trying to document more things and go more behind the scenes, which is what I'm like actively doing in the student group in my training program as well. But yeah, share more of your journey. Again, protect your empire with a moat. Protect your empire with a moat. Okay, make it hard for people to replicate your business exactly. Okay, guys, when you start doing well, people just start copying you out of the woodwork. Okay, the more value you give to your customers, the harder it is for a competitor to come along and match the level that you're operating at. Now, I see so many people try to copy all of my stuff. If you've been following me online for years now, or even months now, I'm sure you see what I'm doing, and then coincidentally after, you see tons of these wannabes who are trying to be me come up and try and copy and model what I'm doing because they see that it works. And I don't blame them. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. I'm not too bothered, but it's sometimes it just gets a bit ridiculous. So what I learned from people just constantly copying my stuff is that you need to build a moat, build value, build systems, and build results that make it so hard for people to try and come in and take your market share, right? There's a reason that we've got the best e-commerce training program. The results do the talking, the resources are there, the community's there, we're there, the tools, the training, the support, the templates, the archives, the services on top, everything in there. There's a reason that we've got this moat built around the e-commerce training business and why we've got the most successful students, why we're Australia's best, hands down, is because we've spent time optimizing that system. Same thing goes for any kind of e-commerce store or product or brand or whatever you're doing. Make sure that you're investing in things to make it just that next level every single time, so that when someone's trying to come into your market, that always steps behind you. That's how you pioneer. That's how you lead forwards. Lead the way, build your empire with a protective moat of difficult barriers to entry in order to be a direct competitor. So if someone's trying to come in and take your market share, make it hard for them. Make it hard. Have something so good that they're going to struggle to replicate and even come close, okay? This is how we stay ahead of the game. It's how we teach our students to do the same and how you should do the same. Another one, diversify your income streams ASAP. One of the biggest other mistakes that I've made is not diversifying my income streams sooner. The reason it's important to do so is because if you've just got one source of income, for example, just one job or one Shopify store or one business or one agency client, and it has a bad month or you get fired from your job or your client kicks you out, you're sitting there left high and dry with nothing to show for it. You've been reliant on one source of income, and then when all of a sudden that gets stripped away, you're sitting there doing nothing. You have to start back at square one, right? Diversify your income stream. Build a business for yourself that you control, first of all. Ideally, make that shift from working for someone else to be working for yourself, and then build a business and build systems. And inside of this business empire, build out your own ecosystem. What do I mean by that? Build out additional upsells, products, cross-sells, things that are complementary to your main service or product in order to diversify where the money's actually coming from. In addition to building out additional streams within each business, have multiple businesses. So once you master one business and you're happy with that, go ahead and start another business in another niche, another sector, another industry, so that if one of these businesses has a bad day, one of the others might have a better day, and then it equals it out, and then you've got consistency and predictability, and most importantly, peace of mind, right? And safety. Okay, if you've got multiple businesses, multiple income streams, multiple different investments, all making you money, some might have good weeks, bad weeks, but overall, they're going to be working together and correlating out on a good average, which is going to be consistently bringing you money. And heck, if you've got 5 businesses and 2 of them shut up shop for whatever reason, You've still got 3 on the go. They're going to keep you afloat, and then you can work on building up another 2 income streams or fixing the other 2 that are broken in order to get you back to your 5 going on and running smoothly, okay? Again, once you learn the systems, once you learn business, once you learn processes, and again, I don't say once you know everything, but once you learn and you're competent enough, because you never know everything, once you can run one business profitably at a scale you're comfortable running at, you can then duplicate these same processes across different niches, sectors, and if one income stream has a bad day, you've got multiple. Again, so don't put all your eggs in one basket. There's a reason that's a common saying, okay? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your income streams and have investments that are going to provide active investment returns and passive investment returns, in addition to things like your job, business, sales, just so that if you, for some reason, don't feel like working this week, you've got some income to show for it, right? That's the kind of security that you want to be able to achieve with diversifying your income streams, right? Capitalize on new social media platforms. Another regret and another mistake that I've made that I wanted to share with you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I continue to make is, again, I wish that I jumped on these new social media platforms like TikTok sooner. Even Instagram, I was pretty late to the party. I wish I got in back in the OG days and started capitalizing on monetizing it, building brands on it. Same with like Google AdWords, I wish I got on that. YouTube ads, wish I got on that like earlier. Things like this, you just wish that you got on these things earlier when really you've still got opportunity ahead of you. But when things come up, you know, don't be late on the bandwagon. If you see that there's like an inevitable trend where so many people are mass adopting like a new platform, just realize it's probably inevitable before there's a huge boom in users. So jump in, learn it, capitalize on it sooner rather than later, okay? So as I started taking Instagram more seriously, it was already quite saturated. Meanwhile, the newer platform TikTok was blowing up and people were finding large amounts of reach, attention, etc. with relative ease. My lesson going forwards from that is when like promising new social media channels come out, to jump over there and take advantage of the early adopters advantage, right? It's way easier to blow up and generate attention, leads, sales, and profits when you're early to the party rather than late, right? Competition is far less, therefore making the barrier to entry to become successful on these platforms far lower, right? You're able to jump in there and capitalize much easier. Same goes with paid ads platforms as well, rather than just organic. For example, I'm pretty solid on Facebook and Instagram ads, right? But I need to work on TikTok now while it's still an extremely lucrative opportunity with cheaper CPMs compared to paying for ads elsewhere, right? I'll be launching more brands on TikTok soon, and I'll be obviously sharing all of this with my students as well. But yeah, like diversify, get amongst new things. If you see something starting to create like quite an impact in the market, for example, TikTok, jump on that sooner rather than later, because there's a chance that you're going to be late to the party and then you're just going to look like the old person who's out of the loop trying to hang out with the cool kids, okay? So capitalize on things when they come out. Again, lead with value and the money will follow. I really need to hammer this one down to you guys, okay? I don't know why I left this one till the last. I should have put this earlier, but the fastest way to not make money is to chase money and prioritize money only in business, right? Listen to that again. The fastest way to not make money is by chasing money and prioritizing money in business only, okay? It's weird. It's kind of counterintuitive until you understand how this works and how you actually get paid. You are paid in proportion to the value that you bring to the marketplace. Money is simply a tool for exchange. It's a medium for exchange. If you're giving me money, I'm giving you value, and vice versa. There's no world where you can just easily make money with no value, guys. Like that's a delusion. You're delusional if you think you can make money without value attached to that, okay? With that said, now that you understand how not to make money, how do you make money? The smoothest, easiest, and fastest way to make money in any niche, any business, whatever it may be, is to lead with value first. If you go out there and you get into the marketplace with pure good intentions to solve your customers' problems, you're going to be far more inclined to get paid handsomely for doing so as well. Chasing money screams greed and desperation too, right? How many times do you go out there and you see people who are desperate for money do desperate things, and desperation scares off money? If you go out there and you're focused purely on solving a problem, and you go out there and you try and build the greatest product in the niche you're going into, you assess what your competitors are falling short on and you capitalize on this, best believe that when you present that far better value to your customers and you're able to articulate that in a really concise offer that makes emotional and logical sense, you are going to become wealthy. You're going to become very wealthy if you're able to package people's problems into something that you've got with a solution, and you're able to go out there and bring that to the market and present that in a concise offer that makes emotional and logical sense, that's how you build wealth. Lead with value, focus on optimizing the customer experience, making a product better, and ultimately that's how you're going to get paid. It's a byproduct. Putting value out there, the byproduct of that is people are going to want to give you money, because if you lead with value and it makes sense and you deliver them value, they're going to continue wanting value, and therefore, what do they have to give in order to do that? They give money, you get paid, you build wealth. The cycle repeats. Does that make sense? Because when I was first getting started trying to make money since the age of like 14, I was just pretty much just a greedy little kid, as you can imagine. I just had this insatiable lust for money. Why? Because I probably felt that it would solve all my family and myself, like all our problems. But it wasn't until I started struggling to make money that I realized why I was struggling. Then I went back to the drawing board and focused on product and customer experience. Then things got easier. Now I've made millions from giving value first. Okay? Lead with value and don't take this lesson lightly. In your ads, demonstrate your product. Show your product off. Show the results. Okay? Educate people. Give people a reason to act. Pinpoint someone's pain points, their problems. Provide your solution. Make it make airtight, logical, and emotional sense. And give them an opportunity to buy something, and they'll buy it because it makes sense. You're leading with value rather than being like, buy my product, it's pretty cool. You're like, buy this because you've got pain, I've got pleasure, and we can marry the two up with this product that makes sense. Bang, deal, sold. That's how it works, guys. That's how I teach all my e-commerce coaching clients and all my other clients. Everyone that I deal with, that's how I build businesses. You figure out what people's problems are, you identify solutions, you package up those solutions, and you sell it in a profitable offer that makes sense, and you scale that, and that builds wealth. End of story. So yeah, what did I want to do? Boom. There you have it, guys. That's a bunch. There's like 30 odd lessons that I've learned, 30 mistakes, 30 regrets, 30 things I screwed up on and I'm going to own happily. Mistakes that I've made, lessons I've learned, and key takeaways that I want you to take into your day, into your week, and yeah, just remember everything. So I hope you started noting things down. If not, go back, listen, watch, read, write. Check out what I said over this video again and let some of these principles sink in. Maybe go over it again, listen to it at double speed. Depends how fast I was talking. Sometimes people think I'm a fast talker, but hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And yeah, I hope you took a lot of value out of these lessons based on my realizations, takeaways, mistakes, failures, etc. that I'm happy to present to you guys, so that you guys don't have to make the same errors and mistakes that I've made. This is one of the reasons why I started mentoring other people on how to get started making money online, because when I got started, I had no information to go from. I had no guides, I had no course, I had no one to guide me. No one was in my corner wanting me to win and advising me on what to do and what not to do. So I had to figure things out the hard way. Hence my passion now for helping my students win in all areas of life, dominate business, dominate in lifestyle, live empowered lives, smash e-commerce, build out profitable advertising systems. This is why I love it. I love seeing other people do things for themselves that they never even thought were possible for themselves. Okay, so I'm happy to pay it forward for you all. This is like an hour, this is probably an hour and 15-minute long video, pure value. Like if we sat together for an hour, I get paid $1,000 an hour for consulting from people. Like that, there's $1,000 worth of value for me giving you tons of lessons based on mistakes that I've made. So I hope you appreciate it. Go out there and pay it forward. And I know, a lot of you guys would have taken some immense value and realizations away from this video. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And yeah, we'll keep crushing it from there. Last thing as well, if for some reason you aren't already, make sure you're following me on Instagram at Eli Dangerfield, the verified one with like 300k followers, because I post a lot more stuff there. As I've said in this video, I want to start posting more, documenting more of my journey so I can resonate with other people and inspire other people as well. And if you're not a member of the program for whatever reason as well, jump on board, get involved in our e-commerce program. We've got thousands of students in over 62 countries crushing it, tens and tens of millions in sales combined collectively through all the students, 4.8 out of 5-star rating when surveyed. The program's amazing. I'm very passionate about it. I'm very proud about it. I have an awesome community here. And yeah, I'm excited to work with you. So if you think you want to work with me closer, you want to learn all of my tips, tricks, and strategies to how to make money online, message me on Instagram and I'll get you all the details. But otherwise, have an amazing week. Hope you took some immense value out of this, basically a feature film documenting all my failures, regrets, and mistakes. We'll call it, I'll think of a name. My brain's fried after talking for an hour and 15 minutes straight. But hope you have an amazing day and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you message me if you want to get started in ecom. And if you're watching this and you're already my students, I love you. I appreciate you. Let's keep building. Let's keep growing, and more exciting stuff to come. Let's go. Cheers.